I'm just about to head for a job. It's an old house and they say there's loose tiles coming off the kitchen wall and also the laundry wall. They don't want to spend a lot of money, so they don't want to do a renovation. When you try to take tiles off, the whole wall of tiles might come off and they might need to renovate. So I'm going to show you just the best way to handle this type of job. So I'll see you there on the job. Okay, here we are in the laundry. They said there's loose tiles and cracked tiles, and yet they don't want to do a renovation, so we're just going to have to make it look a little bit more presentable because they just want to rent this place out. It's an old place. So the first thing I'm going to do is you just test to see how loose the tiles are, whether the tiles are what you call drummy, whether it sounds like a drum. So these ones are actually very loose, as you can see. These are okay, but they usually make a bit of a different noise. And so you've got two loose ones here. You've got actually another loose one. Boy. Now, what we noticed here, there's a cavity here, so that's not ideal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put silicone underneath there, because it's very convenient, and believe me, silicone sticks. There's no problem about using silicone sometimes to do a patch job because it really sticks very hard, but it gets expensive. You can't do a complete job with silicone. But before that, I'm going to use this old rag just to give it some support so when I put the glue, it's not going to fall down. Push it into the groove just enough so the adhesive doesn't fall everywhere down the cavity. Okay, I've got my silicone, and the reason I'm using silicone because it needs to sit flat, and silicone squashes down. If you use too much glue, the tile won't sit down flush. Okay, so I'll just place a few tiles in here, like so. That's nice. This one here. Right. I usually carry with me crosses and wedges, because usually when I'm doing a larger job, these are very good for just making the right space between the tiles. But in this case, I want to lift this edge of the tile up so this is more flush. Just to lift that edge up, just push it in. Yeah, that's getting quite good. And I'm just going to push a bit of glue underneath that just to secure it a bit. Okay, I'll just insert this now. It's got a little bit more room for it. Now, the other thing I want to mention is that these tiles are not actually white. They look white, but they're not. They're an off-white. They're what you call alabaster. So that's why I want to preserve them, because they're hard to get the same alabaster. So if you put a white one, it's really going to show. So I've got to use alabaster grout because it's close to the same colour as the tile, and it'll blend everything in. So if the joints are not quite the same size, it just blends it in, you won't notice anything. And then after that I'm going to run some silicone, white silicone along here. And then on the floor, see how this one, different sound than that one stuck. These ones are sort of, the glue's detached, but I'm going to leave them because they'll probably last another so many years. And if I start taking them up, sometimes the whole lot starts to lift. So I'm just going to stick those back, and then can last for another so many years. So that's the laundry. We'll now go and have a look at the kitchen. Okay, we're now in the kitchen, and once again we just tap here along here, and look at that. Did you hear that, the difference? Yep, that's what you call drummy, and you can see where it's starting to come adrift. Now, the secret here is to try and remove these tiles by slicing around here without breaking those tiles or breaking the tiles next to it, and then reusing those tiles. So sometimes you can take a tile off without breaking it. However, there's always a danger when I cut that they'll pop off and break. So I don't want that to happen. So to solve that, I'm just going to put some tape so that they won't fall. Now, to keep the dust down, I use a sponge. But you have to be very careful because that's electricity. So this hand has to remain very dry at all times, and I just put the sponge on the inside and just let the water go around and cut the dust down. So I'll just get a little bit of water, not too much, and we'll just turn it on. I'll just break out with that. Whoa, look at that. See how that would have fallen down there and probably broken. That's a lifesaver. There we go. Now what I want to do, use silicone once again so it goes flush. Otherwise I have to take all this glue off, and it takes a while to get it off. So you just use silicone. So what I do is I just want to do the edge. Do the edges. It's important always to do the edges. And you do the middle, just you push across in the middle. Right, so that should be enough silicone. You follow the pattern, put it the right way. It's good. And then I'll put this one up, then I'll put the crosses in later. So there we have the finished job, and so that's a lot better. Just improve it a bit, looks a little bit better, a little bit cleaner, and doesn't look so all the tiles are falling off.